Definitely, because you've mentioned that you've come across a lot of horror stories through your time as a promoter, studio owner, label owner. What are some of the stand-up stories that stand out to you that you come across over the years? Those must be
As
millions,
there,
but
yeah. I mean, it's not so much. I mean, I'm happy to always tell them, but like, I'm conscious that I don't want any names, and also I think this is quite a well-known story, so I'm worried that people out there might kind of be like, I know that person.
yeah,
So let me try and shroud it in like as much mystery as possible.
yeah,
But let's just
okay.
say there's a lot of people who have signed like the wrong contracts, and
Hmm.
you have an international release by an international singer, and you sign the wrong contract and you end up with no money.
Hmm.
So you've got like millions that could potentially be at your disposal, but because you were young and you were desperate, and you didn't read the contract, or your best friend talked you into signing the contract, and then suddenly an international superstar releases it as an international single.
Hmm.
Single means like obviously that instead of an album, like you are actually, that single in particular is going to be releasing, like being pushed as promo, right? So it's going to have 10 times more like effort put into it than the rest of the album. So they missed out for, I don't know, I haven't really seen a lot like for the last couple of months or whatever, but I know that they got the recognition at least.
Mm.
But you can definitely go into stories like signing the wrong contract, getting duped by something like that, people signing with the wrong managers, and being held in a contract. Once your publishing is signed over and you have signed a particular contract with a particular publisher, and say it's such a bad deal, that means that you are like kind of held ransom to fulfilling that contract because you have signed it. So getting out of that is really difficult. And I've seen people that have signed with labels, and they've been shelved, meaning like they sign people sorry labels sign a contract, and they will do that so they can shotgun you, almost
Mm.
like kind of say like, I've reserved this person, and then they'll just shelf them just in case anything comes out of them. I'm not saying like, and I'm really conscious of the rhetoric that people say like labels are the bad people in the music industry. I'm not of that. Like I don't think, I think labels do have a place, but where that is getting a bit more skewed. Um but I do think that there are horror stories like that, and there's also horror stories of just spending too much money. Like I have heard, like even just like last month, like someone who spent a lot of money on promo, PR, Instagram, whatever else, and all these other things, but especially PR, and they have not had the right returns. Splits with the like producers, nightmare, absolute nightmare. Sometimes people want to hold back songs. I've been in situations personally where the guy in the next door studio to me actually was working with some of the artists that I was working with, and we constantly were trying to get the splits out of them.
Mm.
And I did not know that there was something going on between the producer and one of the artists.
Mm.
They obviously got into a fight, and he ended up basically holding back the songs, and absolute 6 months of work just went down the drain.
That's mad
Yeah,
because when you hear about stories like Taylor Swift with Scooter Braun as well, I think did he own her masters or
yeah.
something like that?
Well, to be fair, he didn't do everything in the right way. Like
Yeah,
he didn't do anything wrong.
no,
It's just that she wants them back, and she's got
yeah,
enough of an army to basically call it. So to be fair, he didn't actually. And you do hear things like that. Even the stuff, there's some stuff going on with Chance the Rapper and his manager, and like uh technically speaking, from what it looks like, I mean, I'm not in that situation, so I mean, I may be wrong, but the manager didn't do anything wrong. Like there was a contract, it was fulfilled, and that's what it is. But that's where it kind of gets down to like, were you morally right or were you legally right? And
mm,
that's where the discrepancy comes down to. And I think Taylor Swift can't own her masters, and for anyone who doesn't understand what that means, it means that you have one specific copy. Your masters is the well, back in the day it used to be like the main record basically that could be pressed and distributed and sold, etc. It's almost like having, like, let's just say like S- SD card or whatever, like a like
SD card.
yeah. So let's just say it's an SD card because it's easy to think of it in simple terms. But you then have the right to basically reproduce that as much as you want. She basically doesn't have ownership of that, and a lot of people sign away their masters right at the beginning of their career because that's what publishing asks for. I personally think that model should change, but what it should change into is probably a different conversation. And I think Scooter Braun is obviously like he's a smart guy. He's obviously a smart guy.
Mhm.
He's gone in, he's bought something that he knows is going to make money, and he's been able to take that. I mean, Bob Dylan just sold his for 300 million.
Wow.
Like you can do stuff like that. You can and it's just a shame that obviously she has obviously signed that away at such a young age.
Yeah.
But yeah.